What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the FansToys Berserk, or their version of a Masterpiece scale Blitzwing. I got this one from Nick the Toy Guy. He's always really quick at sending these out. One of the first, at least in the United States, he's one of the first, so I appreciate him sending this out so quickly. If you're interested, you can pick this up. You can pick other FansToys figures up from him from nickthetoyguy.com, and I'll put discount codes in the description below. Now, there's a couple things you need to do out of box on this guy, and I tried to cover them in the unboxing, but I'm going to go over them again just because I wasn't 100% sure on everything. So one thing is this wing maybe just sitting loose. You're going to push it back and kind of get it locked in like that. Same on this side, just push that back. It's sort of sitting loose out of package, so you just want to get those kind of pushed back. Then you're going to come to the backpack here, and there's a bit to do here, so we can unpeg this from here and also unpeg it from back here. We're going to pull out on this outer wing to give yourself some room. And then we're going to, and same on the arm, there's like a 1/4 inch of sliding joint here. You're going to pull this arm out this way. Then we're going to lift up on this, untabbing it from here, and rotate it up and out of the way. Same on this side, lift up on this, rotate it up and out of the way. And now we can access the backpack. So back here, you're going to pull the backpack down. You do have to extend it out on this so you can flip out the barrel. Make sure it's not extended. If it's extended, obviously it's not going to fit through there. So make sure it's collapsed. Rotate it all the way up. Then you can take all this and collapse it back down. This is a die cast hinge down here. So I recommend you push that in with your finger. Then collapse this down and tab it in on the backpack. All right, and now we're going to replace all of this stuff. So bring this back down and get this in here. And then we can collapse the arm and this wing inwards. And there is a peg that is getting this armature kind of locked in place. So that's why you're pushing inwards on this and also inwards on the arm. And it's like a 1/4 inch of movement. It's not a lot. All right, same on this side. Bring this back down. Get it kind of sandwiched in between here. It's got to make its way past. Then push in on this. Tab it in here and then tab it in on the top. There's 2 tabs on the top to get it attached to the backpack. If you have that all pressed in properly, you'll feel it kind of lock in place. You know, it really secures that backpack nicely if you have everything squeezed together. All right, and now we're ready for action with this guy. One other thing, at least on my copy, is this knee joint. You can see it's bending down here instead of at the ratchet. So if that's happening to you, then you need to tighten this screw right here. And I thought maybe there was a lock or something. You can push it up as far as it can go. That does help, but it doesn't lock in place. So if you're having that trouble where the lower part of the knee is moving, then just tighten that screw right there. You can just unpeg this panel from here. Open this up and then access that screw and tighten it up. But for now, we're going to leave that all tabbed together. And let's take a look at this guy. He's got some really nice paint detail on him. Starting on the top of the head, you have red, yellow paint here, that metallic purple. That's kind of throughout the body. You got the metallic purple. Metallic red on the eyes, metallic red on the chest, more yellow paint. The white is like a pearlescent white, so that kind of is used on the abs and on the thighs. More metallic purple paint for the rest of the body. Back has some silver and then gunmetal here on the wings. You know, it does compact very nicely. He's a fairly thin profile for what he has stored back here. Let's go over the articulation. Head is on a rotating swivel, so it goes up to there, down to there, rotates around. It collides a little bit back here. If you move this backpack out a little bit, you can get the head rotated. But it does seem to collide back here with this backpack, so just be aware of that. It does have some down, which is nice for a big character like this. Shoulders move up to here. The shoulder pads stay in place, so it actually works well. It looks good. Out to the side on friction. Rotation at the thigh at a cut joint. Single jointed elbow, but it gets you past 90 degrees. There is a cut here in the bicep to allow it to go a little bit past 90 degrees. Coming to the hands, you have a rotation at the wrist. In and out movement at the wrist a little bit. Fingers are done basically the same way we've been getting in the past several figures from FansToys. So this works for me. But there's a ball joint on the hand, so you can bend it inwards. Fingers are on 3 pins, and then the thumb is on a ball joint and a pin. So nicely done hands as always with FansToys figures. Coming down to the waist, you have a waist rotation here, but it gets kind of locked up. So there's a couple of things you can do. One is you have to extend up on this. And it's a very tight joint. I didn't even know it was there until after the second transformation. But if you pull up, you can see now there's a gap between the waist and the abs. And there's actually a ratcheted ab crunch. And if you get that ab crunch going, then you can rotate the waist. Only one click. Now, I found if you come to the back here, rotate it 1 click, fold down these panels. They're not meant to be folded down in robot mode, but I'm just suggesting that you do, because now you get 2 clicks. So you can get a little bit further with that moved out of the way. So you do get an ab crunch, I guess 1 click, and maybe this extends even more. I'm not really sure. It's very tight. I could only get 1 click out of it, but perhaps it goes a little more. I'm not sure. I didn't want to stress it and break it, but I did get at least an ab crunch out of it. Anyway, we'll put these back in, and then you can collapse this back down if you're not using it. Coming down the legs, you have a hip skirt on the front here and on the sides. Leg will kick up to here on a ratchet. Nice strong ratchet for the legs. A lot of weight down here because there's so much die cast. A lot of these panels, the foot and a lot of these pieces are die cast, so it's got a lot of weight down low. Leg goes back to there, hindered by the panel and the backpack. Out to the side on friction. Again, nicely tensioned, so it holds the weight. Rotation at the thigh or on a universal. You have a ratcheted knee, and like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it likes to bend that lower knee. But if you push up, you can get it bent at the upper knee. If you've got a really loose lower joint, I recommend you tighten that screw I showed you earlier. But it does have a ratchet built in there. Coming down to the feet, you've got ankle tilt all the way out to there. If you go too far, it will start pushing on this panel. So right there starts touching. Toe tilt, forward and backward, and then a forward and backward movement on the foot itself. Right now, let's take a look at the accessories. And of course, he comes with a blaster done in metallic purple, nicely sculpted. Has a tab on the handle so you can fit it in either hand. So open up the fingers, keep them curled like halfway. And then this tab's going to fit down over here. You got to get the fingers right in between there. And I'll get the thumb kind of out of the way, but get the pointer finger in between. Otherwise, it's a little challenging to get this pegged in. It's a very tight peg, and he holds on, pretty securely. And you can get the thumb there, and now he's got a nice grip on that gun. Pretty good looking gun. We also get his sword, done in this translucent purple, yellow paint, metallic purple for the handle. It looks very nice. Probably one of the better swords I've seen for a Blitzwing. But you can close the fingers around it. There you go, he's got both weapons. We also get an alternate look for the head. So if you come to the head, and I recommend you take this out because you got to take it out anyways. So basically undo everything I showed you to take this out. I'm going to do it off camera since I've already shown you how to do it. All right, now that we have the cannon packed away, we can rotate the head around. There's a little slot at the top. It's just wide enough to get like a spudger or something in there to help you pop this off. And you want to take off the back of the head, and you're going to replace it with this. So this has a built-in cannon. And then rotate the head back around, watching out for the collision with this. And there you go. There he is with his cannon built into the head. And that's not my preferred look. But I think, you know, people who, I think certain scenes in the cartoon, he looked like this. So if you prefer this look, here's how it looks from the back. And we also get some alternate faces that we can swap out here. So just lift up the head, pop forward the face. It does have a built-in, or I guess a separate piece for the visor. For whatever reason, they gave you a separate visor for each face. I don't think they're any different. They seem like they're exactly the same. Well, for whatever reason, you get a separate visor piece. So I recommend plug the face in, then plug the visor in on top. And then there's the kind of grinning, grimacing evil face. There's a slightly angrier grimacing face. And there's a really angry yelling face. I kind of like that, but nice to have the options, 4 different faces to choose from. For size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. He comes in a little bit taller to the top of the head, maybe like a 1/4 inch, but he fits in really nicely with the Masterpiece scale. I like that he's not overly tall, but still one of the taller characters. And another comparison, there it is with the FansToys Thomas, their version of Astro Train. And they are about the same height. I think Blitzwing is a little bit bigger than him. It was always crazy in the cartoon because everybody got inside of him, even though he's the same size as everybody. But yeah, these two do look great together as a team. And there it is next to the Star Toys Lightning, their version of Blitzwing. And this thing is still pretty darn good looking, but man, what a difference the paint makes. You can see different shades of purple as well on these two. And I am going to do a full comparison between these two figures. I'm not going to spend too much time today, but just to say, size-wise, this guy's proportions a little bit bigger. His head is bigger. He's slightly taller. So he does look a little bit bigger, but overall, they're about the same in robot mode. All right, now let's get Berserk transformed into jet mode. And we are also going to go from jet mode to tank mode. FansToys instructional video, it goes from robot to jet and then from robot to tank. I think it'd be more useful to people if I went through those 3 modes in succession. So later we'll do that other transformation. It requires a little bit of undoing, but I think it's the most beneficial for people. Transformation is actually not difficult, but it's very long. There's a lot of steps. So you just have to prepare for the time it's going to take to transform it, because there's a lot of steps involved. So this will be probably the majority of the video is transformation steps. So come to the back here. We will undo this. So you can unpeg this from his back. Unpeg it from here. We're going to pull out on this shoulder and arm. It just goes out maybe like a 1/4 inch. And that gives you clearance to fold this up and rotate it out. And just leave it right there for now. Same on this side. Unpeg it. Pull this out the 1/4 inch. And then rotate this back and out of the way. So here's how it looks. You can take the backpack, pull that off the back, lift it up on this hinge. This hinge right here is die cast, so just be aware that it's plastic going to die cast. Once you have it pulled back like this, you can fold this in, which we had to pull out for the unboxing. Then we're going to rotate here at this hinge. And before we close it back up, grab a spudger or some kind of tool because we got to open this up. It's a pretty tight tolerance there. So open that up. Then we can rotate the head and rotate that in and then close the panels. You got to close this side first and then close that up. We can leave this down for a second because we need a little bit of clearance to take care of this. So fold this in, fold down this panel, unpeg this, just leave it straight to the outside, and then rotate this entire piece to the outside. You want it to get the wing like past this section here. Then you can close this back up and leave it like this for now. All right, next come to the front and take the arm, lift it up, open up this panel, rotate the hand in like many Masterpiece figures, and then just leave this out to the side. So that's how we're looking. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, now that we have both of the wings configured like this and the arms folded in or the hands folded in, we can take this backpack, clip that back on. So it sits like that with the boosters facing backwards. And then we're gonna go ahead and take care of the legs. And the legs are a large part of the jet. A lot of it is in here. And there's a lot of steps here. So let's get started. Come to the back. There's a clip right here. So unpeg this. That allows you to open up this entire panel. Bring that forward. On the inside, there's a panel here. Open that up. This is the screw I was mentioning that you want to tighten if your knee is bending, not at the ratchet, but at the lower joint. Just tighten that screw. All right, then we're going to take this and lift it all up. And this is easiest to do if you lay it down on the ground. So let me adjust the camera. All right, so here's how it looks. We're going to fold up a few things. So fold up this panel here, fold up this panel here, open this panel. We're going to take the foot, fold this down, fold this in, and just to show you on the other side, it completes the booster. I love that. I love that the foot completes the booster. Rotate that up, accordion this back, and we're going to bring open this panel and bring open this panel. And then we can fold this panel up. And you want to accordion down this hinge. So this is a double hinge. Just push it in like that. And this will come around. If you straighten it up like this, you can bring this past here. Straighten up your leg. We have to slide the thighs inwards. It just moves maybe like a 1/4 inch in to line up. And then leave this sitting right here. And we have to do a little bit more work there. Actually, make sure this is up on the top. Right. So here's how it should be looking. Should have this whole panel sitting back like this. Then we'll take care of the front of the leg, which is the cockpit. So over here, we can rotate this cockpit down. Open up this panel right here. That's going to swing around to the other side. And then you can flip this out. We're going to close this up in a little bit, so just leave that open for now. Come to here and open up this panel right here. Then flip out the nose cone and then close that back up. So this can come down, this should be straight. So here's how it should be looking. So that is one side. Get this other leg done that exact same way. Alright, so here's how we should be looking after getting both legs configured. Just make sure you get this clip panel folded up, because that's going to be going into here. We've got a lot more work to do before we attach that. So come to the front, just line up the legs, and you can start pegging them together, starting from the front and working your way back. So get the nose cone, and then these panels down here, start tabbing those in. If you come to the bottom, you can see that these panels indeed did plug into each other. And then back here, we have to do a little bit of work. So first, what we're going to do is come to here. We're going to rotate this armature before we put these in. We're going to rotate this armature around to this side. And you want this sitting out like this. Same on this one. Before we put these pieces in, we're going to bring this out, rotate this around, and just let this sit right here for now on the top of the wings. Okay. Bring this back. You can see there's a little slot right here on the back of the panel that's going to fit over the shoulder. So that should fit right through there. Make sure you have your rear wings upwards, not trapped inside. And those will come down and sit like that. So here's how we should be looking. Now we're going to take care of this. This is a tricky part, is getting this panel over and past this. So you basically want to lift up here, and you can create a little space, which will allow you to fold this out a little bit, and then rotate this past. And you kind of have to do it all at the same time. It's a little challenging, but all right. So there you go. And we'll do the same thing on the other side now, and then get it plugged in and attach this to the centerpiece. Make sure this didn't come out either. This bottom part should be attached. All right, now we can start attaching all of this section here. So lift this up. This will basically attach together. So make sure these are down over the shoulders, but bring this together. There's actually a clip going to the outside as well, and then 2 tabs on the top. And I lost this clip, so make sure this is on the top. Sometimes that folds down on you. Alright, so get this clip together and then get these tabs tabbed in on the top. It should be flush all the way around this section. Then we'll do this one. So bring this together and clip it in right here on the top. That should go in nice and flush. On the back, you're going to come to here, open this up, bring these down. These will just sit right on top. There's a little square peg there. These will tab into that as best as you can, and then close this down. This will lock those boosters in. Okay. On the inside here, you'll see on the inside of the arm, there's 2 slots for this tab. We're going to go into the upper slot now. Later when we go to tank mode, we're going to go into the lower slot. So just bring this over and tab that in. And honestly, it can be tricky because there's things fighting with you like this. So just get this out of the way. You have to really give it a strong push. It's a very hard tab to get in, but it should be secure, this arm. All right, same on this side. Now we'll take care of this. So bring this up. We're going to open up this little fin right here. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera. This will come down, and 2 tabs, 2 slots. So get that tabbed in. And you might have to slide this in to get those tabs aligned with the slots, but it should look like that. Bring this down and line this up right here. There's a peg right here. So that's how we're looking. Slide out this wing, fold this out, and then slide it back in. And that's the rear fin on the back. Now we'll fold this up. So this has 3 tabs, 1 here going into this slot, a double tab here going inside underneath, and then a tab here that's going into a slot on the wing. There's really 3 tabs that hold this together. So start from the back, squeeze that together, squeeze this together, make sure that didn't come out, and then close down this clip, and that will help to solidify it, but bring this down, clip that into there. So that's how it looks when you're got it all attached. Come to here, this will come down and just clip into the back there. And then on the top here, we can open up this wing. You can kind of put it at an angle, or kind of do whatever you want. I think the official transformation instructions show it like this on an angle. Make sure this top part is tabbed in. That's how it should look. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to do it off camera. I'll be right back. All right, the last step is the landing gear. Now, you really should have done this before, so my apologies. We'll have to take this apart now to get at it, but if we open up this cockpit, and I recommend using a spudger to help you, but basically open up this cockpit here, and you can see the landing gears right in there. But we really have to take all of this apart to get at it. So separate that, separate this, separate this, separate this, take out this little clip, and that should give you just enough clearance to open this up and get that landing gear past there. Like I said, you're probably better off doing that before you transform it all the way. And if you don't want the landing gear, then, obviously skip that step. But you really have to get it apart all the way back to here to get that landing gear down. And on the back, we have 2 landing gear here, 1 there, and 1 there. And there is Berserk in jet mode. And it's a pretty good looking jet. It is meant to be a MiG, I think it was MiG-25, I can't remember. It was actually made after a real jet, but then they obviously modified it with all these transformation parts. It does still look like the animation model for Blitzwing, and sort of represents that jet. Got a nice metallic purple, silver, the beige up here. You do have the wings back here. There's 2 tail fins right here on the bottom, and there's 2 up here. 4 boosters, 2 on the bottom of the turret, and then 2 up here. That looks good. It does have wheels down here. You can roll it on those wheels. I'm not even sure if those wheels are actually rolling, but there are movable wheels down here. So it can sit on top of those. There is a opening cockpit, but it doesn't really work. So you can push the node close down, and then you can open this, but it collides with this. So there's really no way to open it in jet mode. We can store the weapons. We can take the sword and that will plug in right here. Little tab on the side of that engine. Same thing on this side. You take the gun, little slot in the handle will fit over that tab, and now you've got weapon storage for both sides. Seems like an afterthought, but it does work. A little bonus thing, you can take this, and this will fit right on the back of the gun. Not meant, this is fan mode, but you can just stick that there, and now you have a backwards gun. And for some size comparisons, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime and the Takara Tomy MP52 Starscream. And it's a nice big jet. In comparison to MP52, which is kind of the standard for jets, MP scale, just about the same size and length. These retail fins go a little bit past the end. About the same height, and Blitzwing is a little bit wider. His wings go a little bit further. So just to give you a sense, it does match up well with an MP scaled jet. All right, now let's get him transformed into tank mode. And as I mentioned, I'm going to show you how to go from jet to tank. The official instructions have you go back to robot mode, and I'm not going to do that. So there's a lot of undoing that we have to do up here. So start by undoing the wings, which was kind of the last thing we did. And again, you might need a spudger or something to assist you in undoing some of these tabs. A lot of them are pretty tight. Untab that. We can untab this from here. Open up this panel. Bring this down. Fold the wing flat. And this can fold out and out of the way. We're actually have to move it completely. So just move it down there for now. Same on this side. Undo all of this so we can get at the arm section. All right, now that we've taken apart the wings, we unfortunately have to undo all of this. So come to the bottom. We can move this out of the way. We're going to unpeg this little clip. We can fold these up. Undo this clip. We can undo this clip right here. And again, a spudger is your friend. You can pop this out. Undo this tab right here. Undo this tab. And then we can lift up on this panel once we have that all loose. And we can undo this. And we have to go all the way to the front of the jet. So we are going to undo basically everything. Lift up on this. Accordion that forward. Create enough space so they can fold this out. And this panel can fold over the top. Bring this up. And then same thing on this side. So you gotta separate this nose cone. You can fold the landing gear back in. And this is the point in the transformation of the jet that I would have recommended you put that down, just because it's much harder when you do it later. All right, so open up this section, fold the nose in, close up the section. Do that on this side too. Then we can tab these back together. So make sure they're lined up. Tab it together. Make sure the bottom also tabs together. Right. This will fold up. Make sure it stays locked together, but this will fold up and sit right here. Make sure these knee pieces are pushed all the way back. Otherwise you'll have a little trouble with this next step, but set it down, open these up, and we got to do some work right here. So what we're trying to do is bring the arms upwards on a slider, and there's a panel right here on the inside that basically blocks it from doing that. So we got to get in there. And I recommend, again, a spudger. You can put your fingernail in there, but my fingernails are pretty much broken and done at this point. So bring that down. There's a hinge right here. Make sure you fold that hinge down. And then this sits flat on the side of the hips. You're going to slide the entire arm up on the slider. So now we're going to be using the bottom tab when we go back. We got to get it all back the way we had it. But first, we got to take care of this arm. So we got to bring all of this back over. Same for this. Do this side first, then this side, because you got this clip on the top. But this is basically going to go back into here. And we want this up like this. And while we're here, we can fold away this. So slide this out, fold that down, slide that back in. And get this reconfigured. Come to the front, lift up on this little hinge, angle this out, fold this over, and get it stored away in here. And that's one side basically done with the arm slid up on that hinge. All right, so go ahead and do the same thing on this side. I know it was a bit of a mess, but it's the exact same thing we did before to get all of this together. All right, now we got both sides folded up. We can start putting this back. So tab that in, come to the top, tab that in. So that sits like that. You can bring these back down, so open up this tab, fold down the boosters, and then just make sure I've got this flush. It should be folded all the way down. If it's not, then you're gonna have a little trouble. But use this tab to retain, as a retaining clip to hold these in. Then we can take care of these. So these we're going to unpeg the wing. Geez, I hope I wasn't off camera there. Bring this down and then fold it in. It will rest right back here inside. I'll just do it again so you can see. Rotate this, fold this in, slide it down, fold that down so it sits underneath. All right, home stretch. Now we can take care of this. So we're going to open this up. Extend this out so it's straight. Make sure it's collapsed right here. You can fold up that little wing, and this will come down and peg in. There's a tab here and a slot here. And this will probably come out later, so just rest it here for now. We are going to end up tabbing it in though, but that's where it's going to go. All right, same on this one. Now we'll take care of this. So come to here. We're going to open up this panel. There's a little clip that's going to fold down. This is going to clip into here on the front. And then this is going to go into a slot right here. There's a little bit of paint scraping there. And that's because I've had a hard time getting this tab in. So let's see. Make sure I have this. This should be above here. So line this up, get that pegged in there. It's a little challenging to get it in there. And then make sure this closes up as well. All right, same thing on this side. All right, so here's how we're looking after getting both of those side pieces in. Now we got to take care of the treads. So we're going to come to here, lift up on this, fold out on this. For this piece here, we can rotate this purple piece out, fold the wing down, rotate all of this to the other side. The wing will just kind of clip in place right there. Bring this tread piece out. It's folded flat like this. Bring this down and then tab it in on the top or on the front. Bring this back around. That'll sit right there. Now we'll take all of this, and there's basically 4 tabs. One going into the back of the tread, a double tab going into this, and then on this side, this fin, or this engine piece, whatever, is going to go into this slot right here. This one is the hardest to get, so I suggest working your way from the back to the front. And before we do that, make sure you've pushed the arm and attached it onto that lower tab right here. So the arm shouldn't be moving. You can do that on both sides, but those arms should be tabbed in. Now we can close this up and tab this back tab in, middle tab, and then this front one, which is the harder one. Make sure this is straight right here. And we'll line this up and get this pushed in. You might have to hold right here with your thumb as you tab it in. It's just a very tough. It's hard to see, and it's also hard to do. All right, there we go. Got that inner tab in. That's a hard one. Hardest one to get in. And then on the top here, just close this up. Clip that into place to complete the treads. On the top, if you haven't already, close up the landing gear, which I forgot to mention earlier. That one closed up on its own. And that's one side done. So go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, now that I got both tank treads taken care of, I can take care of this up here. I guess first we can fold these down to cover up the treads. In jet mode, they were kind of backwards, as kind of like flaps. All right, we're going to lift this up and lift up here, come to the bottom, and we'll again flip out the turret. And again, it has to be collapsed in order to make it past here. I'm going to bring this forward, and this will sit down and clip in right here. Come to the back, and we'll take care of all this. So we're going to fold out these panels, fold back on this panel. So it looks like that. This will unfurl from here, so a little panel there. It's actually tabbed in to the top here. So fold this back and then straighten it out so that panel fills that gap. These little boosters will fold in to the back of the turret. Then you can take this and clip the sides of the turret together. And it should fill in the gaps there. And then kind of the last step here is to take this. There's 2 tabs here going into 2 slots there. So you can kind of push that down with your thumbs. And then push this down. All right, and there is Berserk in tank mode. And they really went for that cartoon look. That's why they have this cockpit up here. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but I understand why they did it. They're just going super tuned. But overall, it's a pretty good looking tank. Got treads here on the side, done in like an animation style. It's got purple, silver, and beige. It's amazing how this figure changed from mostly purple and silver or gray to mostly beige in tank mode. It's kind of a interesting transformation. Here's the back. You still got the boosters back here, and the little wingtips. The bottom, pretty clean. Overall, a nice looking tank. Pretty big. I do wish I had wheels on the bottom of the treads. I don't need working treads, but it would be nice to have little wheels so you could roll it, because it doesn't actually roll. The turret can turn around, and you can lift this up and down. That's pretty much all it goes, but you can unpeg it from here and get, a bigger angle if you wanted one using that armature. And then just put it back, just push it down, tab it back in. You do have some features up here. You've got opening hatches. And if you fold that one all the way back, this one, you could put like a little figure. You know, I've got an MP10 Spike here, and he can sit in there if you want. And we can also take the gun and the sword. You can fold this handle up. This will tab together right here. And then this slot in the front of the gun will fit right in here for weapon storage. I love that. I love that everything stores in there. And kind of a fake storage, if you open up this front little panel here, you can put this back of the headpiece in here. It actually kind of fits perfectly in there. And you just close it up a little bit. Now you got a little front gun if you want. But for size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. And I love that this tank, you know, is much bigger. You know, it's wider, longer, not taller, but you know, it just, for me, it works because the large size fits into a Masterpiece. You know, it kind of towers over car bots, and yeah. So final recommendations on the FansToys Berserk. I quite like this figure. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I'll recommend it. I think the robot mode is definitely the strongest mode. It really looks good. The paint job is spectacular. The mix of colors, the metallic purple, the flat yellow, and then the chromed red, that just makes it stand out and look really good. Weapons are appropriate and work well, and they look good. I like the options for the faces. Vehicle mode, I think the jet mode is better than the tank mode. Although tank mode's pretty darn accurate. It's just, for me, I prefer if they make it a little more realistic. But for those that like the cartoon accuracy of the vehicle modes, you'll be very happy with this because they nailed the look. And just for me, my preference is the tank mode, not looking like that. But yeah, it does everything. I think if I had any complaints about it, I would say wheels in tank mode would be a nice little addition. And then the knees, I wish there was a lock to stop the lower joint from bending. But you can tighten that screw, that does help out. But minor complaints. Overall, I think this is a pretty darn good version of Blitzwing. Now, we are going to be doing a comparison with the Star Toys version of Blitzwing. So stay tuned for that. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Nick the Toy Guy, and we'll see you next time.